The candidate for the 20th Congressional District, and might I say the first candidate to step forward and challenge at the time Congressman Kevin McCarthy before he decided to drop out. David Giglio, welcome back in.
It's always great to be here. Thanks for having me. I like to think I scared him out. I like to think I got in there and he was like, "Oh man, I don't want to get on the stage with it."
Now that's something somebody that's campaigning would say, right? That's
yeah. I mean,
you got to have confidence. I was saying Fresno State, hey, we're going to beat Michigan on August 31st next year. You got to be confident. What are you going to say? Let's be apprehensive and make sure that we have a good team first before we say something like that.
No, I mean, we're really excited. The campaign's been fun. I mean, a lot of good receptions. Was in Bakersfield last week talking to the Republican Assembly there. And, the common theme that's been something since I got into politics that I hear from people is people are they want change. They want outsiders. They want people that just have no connection to this ruling class that they kind of feel left behind. And look at the economy right now. It's, people are feeling left behind.
Oh, way behind, like the rapture happened and we're left down here on earth kind of left behind, right? David, give everyone your background. We need to do this with all the candidates that are in. Go back and tell them who you are before we tell them what you would want to do if you were so chosen to be in Congress.
So my name's David Giglio. I was a former high school history teacher back when I lived in Connecticut. Now I have a small business in Clovis. I do sports collectibles and memorabilia. And I actually ran
Goo Goo Doll guitars.
Yeah, I got a nice autographed Goo Goo Dolls guitar. That's my music
my theme song right there.
Yeah, that's a great song too. And I ran back in 2022 in the 13th Congressional District. We didn't get past the primary. We had a lot of money spent against us. But I'm very proud of what I accomplished here. I was I'll be flat out honest. I was a nobody at that time, and we got a lot of support.
And that was against Duarte.
Yeah, it was against John Duarte. Kevin funneled in with about $1 million during the primary, and it's really hard to compete with that when you're out there, playing a grassroots campaign.
And these are things that I get a little glimpse into. There's a lot I still don't understand about it, but I would say even the average voter out there doesn't understand how the money gets moved around and allocated. And when you are all the way up at Speaker of the House and you're right here and can control the purse strings, that's David versus Goliath in a huge way.
Yeah, well, that's what a lot of people. It is something that a lot of people don't understand. I mean, Kevin is a Goliath for sure. He controls the purse strings in the Valley, and not even in the Valley, in all of California. I mean, all these donors in California that have the big bucks, they don't really take a breath without Kevin's permission. And that's not ending because Kevin's no longer Speaker. He might not be in the House in body, but he's there in soul, and they still work for him. And, that's why it's a battle. But it's a battle worth having because people are fed up.
Yeah, how do they still work for him, though? I mean, you said that much influence even when
absolutely.
You're out?
I get, I call these people. A lot of them won't even take your calls. I mean, I've sat in rooms with people that'll tell me, listen, I like you a lot, but I can't give you any money unless Kevin gives me the go-ahead. And right now, they're just going to funnel with whoever he wants in this race. That's where they're going to flock to. I mean, Vince Vaughn was chosen. They have their backup plan in the sheriff. So one of those two is going to get flooded with a lot of money. I don't think Vince is going to win his case since his legal argument's pretty weak. But, yeah, it's a really tough battle to go up against somebody like that.
David, it almost sounds political.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it centered around the fact that Kevin, back in 2022...
Kind of a joke there.
Kevin.
Politics, political, yeah. There is politics in politics, I guess, here when it comes to who gets the money and who does not. David, what would be your top three issues? You're knocking on doors. What are they?
Well, water is something I've been fighting for 3 years now. It's a national crisis. You saw today U.S. Steel just got purchased by a Japanese company, or we've already outsourced a lot of oil. We cannot outsource our food supply. You cannot become dependent on foreign countries for your food. That is a recipe for disaster.
Water. What needs to be done, though, with water? We can't control the spigot. I know they have some making it rain in China, making it snow in China. I know there's some modification going on, but we can't do that. What do we need to do for water? Number one thing.
Well, we need to build more storage, but we also need to update water treatment facilities. We need to invest in desalination on the coast, and we need to renegotiate the terms of the original Colorado River Compact, which is a big component of my plan. So I encourage people to go to my website, davidagiglio.com/water, to read it. It's a very complex plan, but I know for a fact that President Trump really made it a priority when he was president. Unfortunately, the clock ran out, but he was here a couple months ago, and he was talking about the water issue and how he wished he had more time to solve it. So that's something that, if I'm blessed enough to win, which I think we're gonna, because we got a great message, I'm gonna go to the president and get him involved, because we need it to come from the top levels of government.
Well, they changed the science on us in 2018. Newsom did, to go back to the old way that they did it, which I think the answer to what needs to be done is simple. 50% of our water goes to environmental needs in this state, while they're talking about turning our water from tap to toilet to tap.
Well, one of the reasons that is because they don't tell you, along the Delta, there is a lot of cities, municipalities that are dumping water into the Delta, are dumping waste into the Delta, contaminants. And they're telling you that they have to flush out that water because it's to save the smelt, to save the salmon. But it's actually to flush out the contaminants, because legally the water has to be at a certain safe level. So the more contaminants that are getting put in there, the more you have to flush out.
So that's why you're saying water treatment?
Yeah, exactly. It's going to solve a huge issue.
Do we not? Okay, I know we know they haven't built enough dams and anything water storage wise. I would assume that since the 1970s, they probably a little bit behind on treating our water, and I would think they would really need to be on top of their game if they're telling us they're going to take toilet water and turn it into tap water, because that's water treatment.
Yeah, they're behind on everything. They're so behind the curve on all these things. They haven't invested in this stuff seriously. They've unfortunately catered a lot to. They've just hid a lot behind environmental reasons to not have to spend the money on these things. So they've used the environmentalism as kind of a shield to say this is why we have to do it, and they don't tell people about the contaminant issue. I mean, that's something most people, the government's not going to tell you that because they don't want you to know.
Now, I have heard, and I know you as well. Right now, we could go back on YouTube and see Congressmen Costa, Valadeo, McCarthy standing up on the floor of Congress talking about the issues of the valley and water, and how it's a national security issue. This is where our food comes from. Congressman McClintock has done this, but it doesn't ever seem to really go. Well, it did back when Trump was out here with some Valley congressmen, but they changed the science on us again. But it's like we get to a certain point, I think people would just have to be like, I'm sorry, there's no vegetables for your dinner because water's run out in California, to get people to respond.
Well, that's the key thing. What they did, this all started back in the 1920s. It took the intervention of the president. First, it was Secretary of Commerce Herbert Hoover. He went to President Coolidge and explained the absolute necessity of dealing with this issue. So you have to get a president. The president has to be aware of the issue. They have to be fully on board, and they basically have to lead the charge. So Coolidge went and led the charge, appointed Hoover to start his commission, and then Hoover did a masterful job. So it has to come at that level. We've neglected it so long. The state of California is not going to be able to fix it on their own. You have to get the president on board, and you have to make sure that they know it's a national security thing. And I think there's no bigger voice and advocation than if President Trump is reelected, which I think he will be. He's really good at getting the nation behind these kind of things. And that's why it's so exciting to be able, when I went to pitch this plan to him.
Well, you sound like you'd be a good high school history teacher. Herbert Hoover Coolidge talk there. Yeah. Water number one. Let's hit two more here during our time together. What would be your second major issue you're knocking on doors?
Well, border security is a big issue. I mean, this is something, it's out of control. I mean, we've seen the videos of what's going on in Europe. I mean, you have to know who's coming into your country. We have to close the border. We have to finish the wall. We have to implement E-Verify. We cannot allow people to come here. You wouldn't leave your door unlocked in the middle of the night. Listen, we have a crime wave crisis going through our country. There's no coincidence that the rising crime rates coincide with an influx of invasion at the border. So this is an issue that's affecting everything. I'm a business owner. My business is broken into 3 times. I mean, homelessness in the United States is at crisis levels. I just saw a chart today.
Do you have an alarm, cameras, anything? Have you been able to see them?
Well, yeah. We did get
business.
them. Yeah, we did get them on video. It's just so tough, man. I mean, and it's hard to blame the police because there's so much going on. But yeah, so border security, number 2. And, President Trump, he's talking about that's a big focus. And the American people want, I mean, listen, Fox News poll just released, A- pollster, immigration. People are hawkish on immigration. They're watching the videos of what's going on in Europe. They even see these Palestinian rallies and they're saying, this isn't the America I recognize.
Chicago.
Yeah, so they don't want that.
How about the, as they call them now in the swamp media, people of color voters of color, just saying, I mean, literally, Republicans, you got a good in right now because they're selling us out. I mean, they're awakening because it's right on their doorstep.
That's the thing. Unfortunately, those communities are being hit the hardest with this. I was in Fireball last time campaigning. A Spanish-speaking woman, she wasn't even an active really voter. She wasn't Republican. She had tears in her eyes saying, I'm just glad you're here because they're dropping people off in our communities. Our kids are getting into gangs. Our kids are doing drugs, and nobody's helping us. And so people, this is our time to really, we cannot be afraid of the media being mean to us on border security. We have to trust the data. We're always talking about science and data. It's overwhelming. The American people want a secure border. They want a new immigration process that is efficient, that is tailored towards bringing in what President Trump said, the best and the brightest. You got to have those things. So that's a big issue.
After what Biden's done, we need a pause on, I don't care if you're the best and the brightest, on legal and illegal immigration. Hit pause, man.
I'm a full immigration moratorium. We need to do that. We have to get this in check. I mean, we don't even know who's in our country right now. You see all these reports about where they've caught these terrorists. They've caught some. Imagine how many they haven't caught. And that's the problem.
Did you see where the Democrat Hobbs of Arizona, the governor there, sent the National Guard and telling Biden they need help?
And you even have the mayor of New York, and there's no coincidence they're going after Eric Adams now because he's changed his tune on immigration. Yeah. So first he was their darling, then he finally said, wait a minute, Joe, you're not doing your job. Next thing you know, the FBI's in there. So that's the one thing, I when we get to the third point, I'm torn here because I wanted to say, obviously we need to invest in infrastructure. We need cost of living, but weaponization of our government is a really big issue. Okay. You have a government, you're always one differing opinion away from the mob turning on you. Eric Adams is figuring that out. We cannot allow the government to basically decide what the company line is. And then anybody who steps out of line, they're not just going to cancel you anymore from social media. They're going to cost you your job. They're going to imprison you. They're going to tie you up in lawfare. Look what they did to Rudy Giuliani. So this all ties in, election integrity, this kind of stuff. We really have to address this at a national level. I mean, we cannot have the government functioning as, quite frankly, it's a Stalinist type thing right now.
Well, let's think about the chilling effect it would send if they can go all the way to Trump and put him in prison. I was talking about the top of the hour here, this is the first part of the 4 o'clock hour, but I don't think we're really realizing that that's a reality. And what's that going to mean,
No, and Trump is kind of the prize for them. They want to show people that we can get an ex-president, right? One of the, a popular guy. If we can get him, we can get you. And the goal is to make people scared, to not speak up. That's why they went so hard after election stuff, right? They don't want you to talk about election irregularities. They want people scared. The government shouldn't be doing that. If you can't question your government, I mean, that's not the type of government you should be living under. The framers would be rolling over in their graves. I mean, they fought a revolution over a 3% tax, okay? And here we have the government knocking on people's doors in the morning. I mean, Roger Stone, they went and dragged him out of there like he was an Al-Qaeda terrorist. And they're just going after anybody who criticizes the regime. And it's unaccountable, unelected bureaucrats. So we talk about term limits for politicians. We have to come up with a way to ensure that bureaucrats are able to be held accountable because a lot of them have been in there for decades and they're doing serious damage.
Well, anything you would like to say in closing to the good, fine voters out there?
I just want to say, this is going to be an exciting race. I'm the only candidate that offers people real change. I don't owe anybody anything. The donors don't control me. The lobbyists don't control me. I don't give a crap about any of them. I'm going there because I care about you. I didn't have to get back up and fight in this race again. They kicked me in my teeth last time. It was tough. It took a lot out of me and my family. But I said, I have to go back because the country is too important. And I kept going back to that woman in Fireball who had tears in her eyes and said, I didn't get it done for them last time. But, man, I need to win for these people because they need change. So I'm the only one who offers you that. My only loyalties are to the people who vote for me and even the people that don't vote for me because I'm going there to deliver for the Central Valley and the American people. And a lot of these America First policies, they're common sense policies. They're for everybody. It's not Democrat and Republican. America First to me is common sense. That's your job as a politician. Put your people first. Do things that directly benefit them.
Would be great to be great again. Campaign website.
DavidAGiglio.com. Check it out. Obviously we're fighting a big money battle here. Anything you can donate helps. Times are tough. I know my store's been the slowest it's been in years. So, $5, $10, $25 is just as good as $1,000. Anything you can do helps. Spread the word. I also have a way on there. If you live in the 20th district, sign up to host a town hall. I'll come talk to 5 people, 10 people, 20 people. Doesn't matter. We got to spread the word. We got to work the ground. And let's do this so when President Trump wins, he has real allies and he can implement his agenda, and we will make America great again.
Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you.